3D Snow White Acrylic Mailer Tutorial by Hot Pink Zebra Polish.
Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to be doing yet another one of my princess nails. This one is Snow White, and it's got the little Snow White portrait on the first nail, and then the second one is kind of inspired by her dress. It's blue, yellow, and red. I hope you guys like this as much as I do, and if you've missed any of my past princess nails, I will put links to all of them that I've uploaded so far in the description box below, so check that out, and I will see you in my next video.
I'm going to begin with the base for my Snow White with a layer of shimmery white acrylic. So this one is just kind of like a cloudy white with the lightest little hint of sparkles in the background. And then I'm going to encase that with a layer of clear acrylic, especially if you're using any type of shimmer or glitter acrylic. I would definitely highly recommend encasing it with clear, both for strength and to make sure your glitter stays nice and sparkly. Then I'm going to file the nail into shape with my e-file. After I'm all set with that, I'm going to take Cover Pink and I'm going to start sculpting Snow White's face and neck. So depending on how long your nail is for one thing, and then how big you're sculpting your Snow White, you may end up seeing more of her arms and more of just in general, or if you sculpt her smaller, you'll end up seeing more. I want it to be kind of just like a face profile, so I wanted to make sure that her head was fairly large. That sounds bad, but her head was large on the nail so that you could see more facial details and just keep it looking really focused in on her. So then I'm going to take, and after I've got that done, it also goes down her chest just a little bit, I'm going to be adding her dress with just a little bit of blue, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to add her hair with black acrylic in a moment. So as you can see, I am taking and just with that same dark blue, and save that dark blue out to the side because you will be using that same color on the accent nail that I created to go with this one. So then when you're going with her black hair, since everything that's touching the black is a very pale color, so you've got the Cover Pink color for her face, and then you have the white background for the nail, you are going to probably want to do this in several small beads instead of trying to grab a bigger bit of acrylic to start with, just to do like one side of her hair at a time, because it's a little bit more difficult to keep the black pigment from staining both her face and that background if it ends up someplace where you don't want it to be. So it's harder to sort of move it around because it does, I don't know if stain's the right word, but it definitely gets the black little smudgy look, and that's not really what you're going for. So do it just little bit by little bit, which is also kind of the way I like to do hair on all of these characters, even the ones that didn't have quite as pigmented of hair like Cinderella, which I've done, not uploaded yet, but she has done, is the yellow, so that one isn't quite as bad, but I still did it the same way, little bit by little bit, just because especially with hair, it's not necessarily going to be smooth. You're going to have different sections of hair, like the bangs are going to be thicker, and you kind of want a little bit of a flow to it. So little beads at a time actually works out really well for all sorts of reasons. Then I'm going to take, and she's got that upright collar around her dress. I'm going to do that with white. So this is like a French white, and that also for the background, having that little bit of white shows up. Whereas if you did just a stark white background, that's not going to show up either. So that's another reason to choose sort of an off-white color for the background. And then with a little bit of red acrylic, which you can barely see against her hair, I'm going to be doing a little bow on top of that. But I did paint it later and highlighted it that way, which definitely made it show up a bit better. And a little bit of dark blue tuft on that one sleeve. So I'm going to be going through, like I said, with acrylic paint, and I'm going to be adding details, starting out with making sure that red bow is definitely visible. And then with some brown, I'm going to start doing my outlines. And with a lot of these characters, I did most of my outlines with brown, but then on Snow White specifically, I went through and I did a couple more of them with black. And the reason is for that is because she does have black hair, black outlines just seem to be a little bit more necessary because otherwise they didn't show up as well. A character that has lighter colors all around and you want to look really soft and feminine, stick with more of the brown outlines, but for Snow White, just with the black hair, and she's a little bit more contrasting with black and white all over, it just works out a little bit better to have a bit more contrasting outlines as well. So after I have her facial features sort of just drawn in with that brown, I'm going to go through and do a lot of the outlines again with black. So I did her eyebrows with black, and then I went through her eyes, did her eyes like eyelashes and her lash lines with those black lines, fill in her eyes with white. And Snow White has brown eyes, which you can add, or because this is still, even though like I said I tried to make it as big on the nail as I thought for the look I was going for it would fit, you may want to just skip the brown iris and go straight to a black pupil because you don't see too much of it, and it's up to you, but I go back and forth whether that's necessary. Add her lips with red. She has a nice little red lipstick smile. add those eyes in there. And I did do them with brown first and then go through with black, but it's one of those things where at the end I'm like, did I really have to do that? And it's up to you. It's not like it takes long. It's just, you know, something to, if you want to speed up the process, especially if you are in a salon environment and time is money, you might want to go ahead and do that. I'm going through adding a couple more of those outlines, like I said, with black around her collar, and then adding a little bit of white highlight on there. That's mostly to make it stand out from the background a little bit better. Apply some gel sealer over that sparkly background, some matte top coat over Snow White, and you can go ahead and start working on your accent nail. So for this accent nail, I'm going to actually do some of it with almost like I was doing a French tip. So I'm going to first create my nail bed area with a dark blue, the same dark blue I used for her dress. Like I mentioned, keep that one out to the side so you have it available for you. And instead of doing a nice curved smile line, I actually went into a very subtle soft point. And then fill in the tip of the nail with a pastel yellow acrylic. Make sure that your blue acrylic has set long enough that the blue isn't going to leach into your yellow and turn it kind of a muddy green. So just keep that in mind. You do want it to really, really set up before you add the paler color. And then encase this nail with a layer of clear acrylic to make sure it will be nice and strong. This also helps kind of balance out because when you do the nail bed area and the smile line, or the nail bed area and the tip separately, there's usually a ridge there. And that clear acrylic just kind of helps even it out. File it into shape just like you did with the other nail. I really like to use a finer bit after my coarse bit to smooth out everything. It's my process. Everybody has their own. And then I'm going to take with red paint and I'm going to paint 3 teardrop shapes up in the blue area of the nail. So for this little series that I've got going for the princesses, like I mentioned, I have Cinderella done, not uploaded, but I've also got a couple other ones, and I'll put links to them in the description box below, the ones that I've uploaded already. And they're all a 2-part nail. They're the princess nail and then the accent nail. I try to keep the accent nail simple. I really like this one for Snow White. I think it's, if you know Snow White, you look at it, at least for me, and I think, oh, Snow White. So I hope you guys like that too. And then just apply some gel sealer over it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Tag me in any recreations on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to see them, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!